Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're cracking open the investigator's playbook for auditing AI compliance under the ISO/IEC 42001-2023 standard. Because here's the thing, auditing artificial intelligence isn't just about parsing through technology. It is fundamentally about the people who build and manage that technology.
So think about the core mystery of an AI audit for a second. You've got this complex black box system. You can't exactly just scroll through endless data logs or stare at lines of code to figure out if an algorithm is behaving ethically or fairly or transparently. The code alone simply doesn't give you the whole story regarding intent or governance. The real answer? You have to talk to the humans who built it. While these AI algorithms might live on servers, they are entirely governed by people, and that makes structured interviews your absolute ultimate investigative tool. To truly verify compliance and uncover what's really happening inside an information security management system, or ISMS, we have to look past the machine and focus on the humans running it.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll cover the human side of AI. Next, we'll map the stakeholders. Then we'll master interview techniques, figure out how to ask the right questions, and finally, wrap up with documenting your AI findings. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The human side of AI.
Look, having security controls beautifully written out in a policy manual simply isn't enough. We conduct these interviews to investigate if employees genuinely understand their roles. Are those expensive manuals actually being used, or are they just gathering dust on a shelf? Interviews are how we gauge the true, everyday culture of information security. It's how we find those hidden gaps where the actual day-to-day practice strays from what's officially documented.
Section 2. Mapping the stakeholders.
This is where we have to cast a really wide net. Internally, you've got the teams building and governing the AI. We're talking the C-suite, data scientists, risk management, legal. But AI doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? Externally, you've got to consider everyone impacted by it. Regulators, partners, advocacy groups, and of course the end users. A truly comprehensive audit has to look at both sides of that coin.
You literally have to talk to everyone, from the boardroom all the way down to the server room. Top management might sit there and tell you their AI strategy is absolutely flawless, but it's the data scientists who actually hold the technical truth about how things like model fairness and bias mitigation are working in reality. Your job as an auditor is to make sure those high-level strategic goals actually line up with the on-the-ground technical execution.
Section 3. Mastering interview techniques.
Now, mastering this means choosing the exact right tool for the job. Say you're doing an instant response check across multiple departments. You're going to want a rigid, structured interview to ensure total consistency. But if you're sitting down with the C-suite to talk big picture strategy, an unstructured conversational approach is going to yield way better insights. And hey, don't sleep on group interviews either. They are absolutely fantastic for observing team dynamics and seeing how different units actually coordinate in real time.
But before you step into the room, remember that every good detective plans ahead. You can't just wing this. Before asking a single question, you need to firmly map out the boundaries of the ISMS, identify the key personnel, craft a solid interview framework, and make sure everyone is scheduled and properly briefed. The more prepared your participants are, the more accurate the information you're going to get.
Section 4. Asking the right questions.
I absolutely love this technique. Instead of asking a simple, lazy yes or no question like, "Did you read the incident response manual?" Present them with a scenario. Ask them, "If you received a report of a security breach today, what steps would you take right now?" This acts as a stress test. It proves whether an employee can actually apply the protocols under pressure, rather than just reciting a policy they skimmed once.
To really get to the truth, your execution needs to be sharp. First, build rapport early on so people don't get defensive. Second, lean heavily on open-ended questions to draw out those rich, detailed narratives. Third, actively listen and pay attention to their body language too. Finally, document those clues in real time. Do not rely on your memory. Write it down instantly so you don't lose the context.
Once the interviews wrap up, that's when the real analytical heavy lifting begins. We start cross-referencing responses to spot inconsistencies. Think about it. If 3 people in the exact same department give you 3 completely different answers about how they handle training data, guess what? You've just found a compliance gap. We then compare what they said against the official documentation and run a root cause analysis to figure out exactly why that gap exists.
Section 5. Documenting your AI findings.
Documentation is what makes your audit official. This is how we ensure total transparency. You take what you heard, summarize it, link it directly to the standard, flag where the organization is falling short, and lay out the hard evidence. This creates an undeniable trail. You're basically turning subjective, human conversations into highly objective, actionable audit reports.
And we have to be incredibly specific here. Every single clue you gather must be explicitly linked to a specific requirement within ISO/IEC 42001. For instance, if an interview reveals that IT infrastructure changes aren't triggering new risk assessments, you don't just write down, "This looks bad." No, you tie that finding directly and formally to Clause 6.1.2 of the standard.
Ultimately, all these rich qualitative interviews are going to yield concrete quantitative metrics. By meticulously documenting your findings, you give the organization a clear, measurable picture of their AI governance health. You show them exactly where they are compliant, and more importantly, exactly where they need to urgently focus their resources.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. When it comes to your own organization's AI compliance, are you just reviewing the code, or are you truly investigating the people who govern it? Because the standard makes it clear we have to look at both. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into AI audit interviews, and I hope this gives you a powerful new perspective on how to secure our technological future.